I'd love to take questions.
It was a campaign event in Iowa that largely went unnoticed until a Grinnell College student told her student paper that a Clinton campaign staffer prompted her to ask Senator Clinton a question about global warming.
As a young person, I'm worried about the long-term effects of global warming. How does your plan combat climate change?
Well, you should be worried, and you know, I find as I travel around Iowa that it's usually young people who ask me about global warming.
The Clinton campaign admits a staffer encouraged the question, but insists Senator Clinton was not aware of it. The Democratic presidential hopeful told reporters, quote, "It was news to me, and neither I nor my campaign approve of that, and it will certainly not be tolerated." But a second incident at an Iowa event last spring is being disputed. Democrat Jeffrey Mitchell, a Barack Obama supporter, told us by phone that a Clinton staffer encouraged him to ask Senator Clinton a question about Iraq.
He asked me if I would ask Senator Clinton about ways that she was going to confront the president on the war in Iraq, specifically war funding. And I told him that that was not a question that I felt comfortable asking.
Turns out, no questions were taken. When asked about the event, a Clinton campaign spokesman says a campaign staffer bumped into someone he marginally knew. They started talking, Iraq came up, and the staffer suggested he ask that question. But Mitchell says he'd never met the Clinton staffer prior to that event. One Iowa political science professor says he doesn't believe planted questions are a big deal in themselves, but says they provide ammunition to Senator Clinton's opponents.
You know, this is just one more essentially distraction and one more piece of sort of a general raising of questions about her competence as a campaigner.
Other Democratic presidential candidates are pouncing. Senator Barack Obama said his campaign doesn't engage in planting questions. John Edwards said that Senator Clinton is taking a page from George Bush's scripted events. To that, the Clinton campaign is striking back in a statement saying what George Bush does is attack Democrats and divide the country. Senator Edwards' campaign, it says, resembles that more and more every day. Mary Snow, CNN, New York.
I thought it was a great opportunity. I mean, she really might be our next president, and I definitely wanted to hear her. And I have been trying to go to as many things as I can. I went to the Harkin State Cry. That was really cool. And the Hillary campaign, like the student campaign, was advertising it on campus, and so that they would give anyone rides who wanted to go.
And so you took a ride.
So I got a ride. On the way over there in the car, they asked me if I would ask the senator a question. I said, sure, you know, I'd love to ask her a question. And when we got there, we were there a little bit early, they brought me to one of the senior staffers. And he asked me if there was any question I wanted to ask. And I kind of thought about it, and I said, yeah, can I ask how her energy plan compares to the other candidates' energy plans? And he said, well, I don't think that's a good idea because I don't know how familiar she is with their plans. And then he showed me in his binder, he had a piece of paper that had typed out questions on it, and the top one was planned specifically for a college student. It said, like, college student. When I asked him how it worked, he said, raise your hand. When she asks for questions, raise your hand, and she'll call on you. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know for sure that she knew in advance, but there were like 200 people there, and everyone was raising their hand. I was 1 out of 4. That doesn't seem random exactly. What they had typed out in the paper, it said, college student in brackets, and then the question was, as a young person, I'm concerned about the long-term effects of global warming. How does your plan combat climate change?
And what did you think of the answer she gave?
I mean, she definitely wasn't reading something that was memorized or scripted, you know. She was really answering the question, and she answered it well and talked about her plan.
But you would have rather asked the question that you came there having already.
Right. That's why I was really curious to see how her plan compares to other candidates as an undecided voter, as I'm trying to decide who I want to be representing me.
So looking back on this now, do you have a different opinion of her as the candidate?
I mean, it's possible that all campaigns do these kind of tactics. I don't know. But personally, I want to know that I have someone who's honest representing me. And I think the question and answer sessions, especially in Iowa, are really important. That's where the voters get to have like a real genuine conversation with this politician who could be representing them, and they get to voice their concerns. And when you're planning the questions in advance, that just takes that whole conversation out of it, takes the voter out of it.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!